we'll have you on the...
Another day, another news conference where the government makes another announcement to help the homeless.
We all know it's been a tough year here in Vancouver and that everyone is feeling stressed out.
COVID forced hundreds of people in precarious housing out on the street. Strathcona is the city's third tent encampment in 2020. At the same time, people in neighborhoods nearby like Yaletown have complained crime is on the rise. For the first time in years, the price of housing doesn't seem to be the biggest hot-button issue stirring angry debates.
The conflict over streets and street cleanliness and street order and that kind of thing, it's definitely top of mind for lots of Vancouverites. That's probably the single most issue that we hear about, and for good reason, because certainly we see a lot more garbage on the streets, we see a lot more human waste on the streets, we see a lot more needles, we see more violence.
After months where politicians have prioritized the concerns of homeless campers, their focus now is on nearby residents.
The children in this neighborhood are taught to identify needles that are discarded and how to deal with them. And likewise, they're taught how to deal with people who are, let's say, unfriendly to them.
Jamie McLaren is a Strathcona lawyer, organizing a potential tax revolt if the city doesn't build enough social housing. He says people in Strathcona empathize with the most marginalized, but says the line of acceptable, dangerous behavior has been crossed.
When it becomes widespread and seemingly out of control, then it becomes a real issue, and it's a legitimate concern, I think.
In the midst of a housing and overdose crisis and global pandemic, how much of a concern it should be is a fair question. But it's enough of one for the mayor to take notice.
I agree that there has been a change in public tone, and it's our job as politicians to make sure that we move resources to where they're most needed. And that's, I think, how I'll be judged when the next election comes along, is how well did we tackle this.
But he doesn't want expectations too high.
Cities, it's never about ending anything, it's about managing it better. And I think when I talk to mayors around the world, like those kind of promises are, they shouldn't be made.
A far cry from the city's last mayor who promised and failed to end street homelessness, but an accurate measurement of where Vancouver's ambitions now lie. Justin McElroy, CBC News, Vancouver.